So this is the Thursday video. We're going to spitball this. And one thing I thought about just before is that people have been commenting on your VHS collection there.
Mm-hmm.
They can see that on Video Hoarders, right?
They certainly can. I do have an episode on Video Hoarders where they...
Yeah, so Video Hoarders, for those that don't know, Ben produced this show with Jarrett Gunn, and it's on the Cult of Monster website, I think.
It is on Monster Fest. It's on the Monster Fest website and on YouTube.
Cool. Awesome. So I'll probably just flash that on the screen while we're talking so that people can actually go and have a look at that and get a little bit more of an insight into the collection. Because I just forgot. People have been talking about it and they can actually go have a look at it.
Yeah, like Rob Taylor's web series is a phenomenal insight. And not just my collection. You can see some truly amazing collections in those episodes.
Yeah, that is it the Evil Dead basement one? That's incredible.
Yeah, Alex's collection was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, we're going to do some spitballs. I'll go first because I've got one all lubed up here. It's a soggy one, mate, and I'm going to piff it. Oh, the light is in my way. Oh, no, that landed on Pearl Harbor.
Oh, Michael Bay. The Michael Bay.
Yeah.
I remember when I was once upon a time in my spotty youth, I was the manager of the DVD collection in Melbourne. And
yeah.
I had this guy working for me, Mark Angeli, and he suggested that we put on in the background while we were getting all the new stock in. He's like, put on a Michael Bay movie and let's listen to the commentary, because this guy is an egomaniac. And so I believe we put in Pearl Harbor, and we had the audio commentary going in the shop, and it was phenomenal. Like that guy.
Mate, do you know that back in those days, and I only realised this last year, you sold me the box set of Nightmare on Elm Street, that one where, they're like paper covers.
Yeah, right.
Like the paper ones. Yeah. Because I remember your face, and like I was only thinking like last year, because I've replaced it with Blu-ray, and I'm like, I don't want to get rid of it, because I remember buying that, and I'm like, holy fuck, that was Ben that sold that to me.
Yeah.
It was, I remember you.
Yeah. I hope I wasn't in too bad a mood. I was in a bad mood a lot in that shop.
Yeah, were you? Well, I was from a video store myself, so I was sort of like, it was forever.
You understood.
Like,
You understood the pain.
Yeah.
And people coming and going, have you got, what's the latest Scott Atkins movie? Have you got what's Scott Atkins movie? Like, oh man, I don't know.
Mate, that's a good question. That's a good question. And it's your turn to do a spitball. I think Ben's scrunching up paper and throwing dry spitballs because he's got a precious collection to protect.
Oh, that hit. Oh, geez. The Dirty Dozen, The Next Mission.
Excellent.
The sequel to The Dirty Dozen. Once again, I think with Lee Marvin at the helm. I can't remember who the...
No, Telly Savalas wasn't he the one at the helm?
Was he in The Next Mission, or was he in the third one?
He's in 3 and 4. But
I think it's
you know what? This is a huge regret of mine, because I had all of the Dirty Dozen sequels on DVD, and then last year, stupidly, I sold them off.
Right.
I do this a lot where I look at them and go, will I watch those again? Unlikely. Sell them off, make some money, and then, lo and behold, a few months later, really wish I had those, wish you had. Now I feel like watching it.
How are you ever gonna replace them? No, it's definitely Lee Marvin.
Yep.
Lee Marvin in the second one, because he comes back with Ernest Borgnine and Richard Jekyll. And then who were the guys?
Gotcha.
It's not it's and then it's Telly Savalas in the third and fourth, and those like The Next Mission is pretty bad. Like Lee Marvin has gotten really old in the break. Like I don't know, I think it's 1985, so it must have been a good 10 years between films at least. So Lee Marvin's gotten really old. And it was Ken Weil, Sonny Landham. I mean, it's Larry Wilcox. It's a pretty good cast.
Talk to yourself, because my camera's just turned itself off. So what I'm going to do is, the audio is still recording, and I'm going to go around and turn it back on. So we're still rolling.
Okay.
Always something interesting on these things.
All right. So let's have a look. Who actually directed the Oh, geez, it's Andrew V. McLagan, who did a lot of westerns and stuff in the 60s, in the 50s and 60s. I'm just shocked that he directed the sequel.
You literally were talking to yourself.
I was just talking to myself. I'm just talking about Dirty Dozen: The Next Mission.
Mate, you're a professional.
And he directed, yeah, he directed McClintock, Chisholm, Cale, U.S. Marshal, a lot of, by looks of things, John Wayne movies. And then he replaced, who was it? Who directed the first one? Don Siegel? Is it? No, it's Robert Aldrich, right? Who directed the first Dirty Dozen
Right.
film. Is it Robert Aldrich? So 67. So no, 20, almost 20 years between the two films. So yeah, Robert Aldrich directed it. Yeah, it's 67. So Lee Marvin is like frail looking and old.
And I think we had a similar conversation about him last week.
Yeah, I don't like old Lee Marvin. Like I didn't. Yeah, that's right. We talked about him in Gorky Park and in
Delta Force.
Delta Force. Yeah.
I love those sequels to classic films that they do like many years later, like The Great Escape 2.
I didn't even know there was a Great Escape 2. I know that there's a Roadhouse 2, which I bought off you. During one of those. Is that one that you regret selling off, that you wish you could watch again, Glenn?
Absolutely, dude. Yes.
Jonathan Shea is the second best, the son of the best cooler in the business.
I just I regret because these things get deleted and then they don't get put on digital or streaming, and it's like, oh, man.
No, but there's, like I think in the canon of Jake Busey films, Roadhouse 2 is not one of the ones that deserve to, see the light of day again. Like, SFW needs to come out on Blu-ray before.
I have a reputation for loving bad sequels. It's just my thing. But Great Escape 2 is so good. It's Christopher Reeve, Donald Pleasance comes back, and
he dies
tells the story.
He dies in the first one. Donald Pleasance dies.
Donald Pleasance, he's not the same character.
Okay. He's not the forger.
He comes back for the poster. He's back for the poster. but no, and it's got a good poster. But the story is in The Great Escape. You know how the two lots of prisoners sort of went in each direction.
Yeah.
This follows the other guys that the first film didn't follow.
The ones who all get machine gunned down at the end. Because they all split up. They all go in different directions. But then you've got like the McTavish, the guy from Bewitched, and he gets, they all stand in front of the firing line and stuff.
No, that is referenced in it, but it's not that group it follows. It follows like a different, I think it's 5 of them that go off. Yeah.
The Great Escape 2.
Christopher Reeve.
The Untold Story from 1988.
Yeah.
Look at the cast.
I have it on DVD. It's great.
Judd Hirsch, Ian McShane, Donald Pleasance.
That's right. Ian McShane.
Who else is there? Michael Nader. Peter Dennis. Christopher Neame. Or Neame. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Jeez. And the film was nominated for Outstanding Sound Mixing for a miniseries or special. So it's a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah. It's like CBS or something like that.
Right.
NBC,
and look at, what's his name?
But it's quality.
Christopher Reeve has a glorious mustache in it. So I'm all for that.
He sure does.
Oh, I'm gonna have to borrow this DVD from you after quarantine's over.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a website called like DVD Collection or something like that.
Right.
And it does lots of cult films that rarities and stuff, and they just sort of find a way. Like, what's the other one I've got? Riddle of the Stinson, the Aussie film. They have that.
Riddle of the Stinson.
Mate, that is a beautiful film. That's one Jack Thompson, Richard Roxburgh. True story about the plane that went down in the Lamington State Park in the 1930s.
Right.
And the rescue mission was abandoned except for one farmer, played by Jack Thompson, who swore he heard the plane flying over his farm, which was nowhere within the vicinity of the search zone. So he
Right.
goes in on horseback to find them, and 2
Rambo
weeks
style.
later they are still there, and Rambo style.
Rambo
mate. It
style.
actually
Rambo.
reminds-
Rambo
Yeah.
5. Last Blood style.
Yeah, the opening scene is exactly like that. But it's mate, this is one of those films. Look, I take a little bit of pride in this because it's one of those films that, from my childhood, I loved with a passion, and it's produced by Kennedy Miller,
Okay.
and actually, it's directed by Chris Noonan, who did Babe and Miss Potter.
Right. I always think of Chris Noonan as the kid from Caddyshack, but I think that's Tom Noonan.
Tom Noonan's the Tooth Fairy from Bloody Manhunter.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
But Riddle of the Stinson.
Danny Noonan from Caddyshack.
That's it. That's right. Anyway, Riddle of the Stinson never got any kind of release outside of its television airing because there was a flood at the Kennedy Miller production house and destroyed it. So
Wow.
the Channel 9 or Channel 7, whichever it was, their copy is the only one that exists, and someone got a hold of it and put it out there. It's on YouTube now. When I sourced it, it was very rare, but now someone's obviously bought a copy from the same place and put it online.
Put it online. Well,
Watch it. It's
Good on
great.
yeah, right. I'm going to have to check this out.
I love it so much that I've bought the biography of the guy that was the rescue. His name was Bernard O'Reilly. There's a place in Queensland called O'Reilly's, which you can actually trek to the crash site. Brian Trenchard Smith made his movie Drive Hard at that place.
Right.
So they drive through, do donuts in the car park of O'Reilly's. Like, I geek out on this film that no one knows.
Well, speaking of like obscure Jack Thompson films, have you seen Trouble? I believe it's called Trouble in Paradise. The film he made with Raquel Welch. It's basically swept away / cast away kind of thing that he made out here.
Yeah.
It was produced by Phil Avalon. It was
I reckon sometime this year only I saw the poster for that.
right. Well, I think it was kind of famous at the time when I saw it because it was the first you almost saw Raquel Welch nudity, and she would have been in her 50s by this stage, but it was like as close as she ever came. So it was much sought after amongst certain circles who were interested in
Jack Thompson.
in that
He
kind of
got
thing.
so close to Hollywood.
Well, I mean, he was in was it Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, and he was popped up in all these kind of films. So he kind of made it, but then he went and kind of started doing shorts like The Mailman or The Postman or whatever the hell that one was, the Spread Australia short. That's
he never reached the heights of Brian Brown over there, sort of, or Alan Dale.
No, I think Alan Dale stole his career. Like all of those roles that Jack Thompson. I think Jack Thompson maybe just put a bit on in the old belly department, and he couldn't play the stern businessman that Alan Dale is most well known for.
Do you remember when Jack Thompson rocked up in Man Thing, which was directed by Brett Leonard?
Yes.
One of the early Marvel movies.
Yeah. It's no Swamp Thing.
And I think he's only in it. Well, he's only in it because his son, Jack Thompson's son, plays the detective in it.
Right.
And Jack Thompson's son also produced the movie Feed, which Brett Leonard also directed.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that film.
Which has the guy from Hawaii Five-0 in it. He wrote it.
Jack Lord.
No.
From the original Hawaii Five-0 or the new Hawaii
No,
Five-0?
the new one. Is it Alex O'Loughlin or the guy from Oyster Farmer?
Right, the guy who plays like the main guy that's not Scott Caan.
Yes.
Yeah, the only one I know is Scott
Man,
Caan.
why did we... This video is not Spitball. This is Tangent.
This is Tangent.
All right, let's do another Spitball.
All
right. Is it my turn?
I believe it's...
Yes.
No, hang on. You did Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, your turn. Man, I love that memory of yours, dude. I would have forgotten that. We didn't even talk about Pearl Harbor.
No, I think... No, it's your turn because I did Next Mission.
Yes, but we didn't talk about Pearl Harbor.
We did talk about Pearl Harbor, but then we did Next Mission. Yeah.
We talked about.
We didn't talk about. We just talked about me putting the commentary on, not about the film. But I think the less said about Pearl Harbor, the film, the the better.
That'll do, pig. That'll do. Here we go. Just tie it all in. All right, here we go. That has landed. Oh, it's landed on. Well, it's on 2. You pick. I think I know which one you'll pick. It's in between The Evening Star.
The Evening
and which is the sequel to Terms of Endearment, or Eric the Viking.
Oh wow, Eric the Viking. Well, that's a movie I haven't seen.
Let's go with that.
I haven't seen that movie in about 30 years, but I used to watch it all the time. I used to love it.
It is great. It's one of those post Monty Python movies that could well easily be a Monty Python film.
Yeah, except instead of like John Cleese playing Eric the Viking, he was too old, so they had to bring in a similarly tall and gangly Tim Robbins. Yeah.
And I had a funny feeling this began its life as a Monty Python film, like as a script.
Oh, look, it's totally like now looking back on it with that in mind, like it's totally like in that vein.
Terry Jones wrote it. I think he directed it too.
Yeah, right.
And I just remember that opening scene where they go and they rape and they pillage a town.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's funny stuff that once again could never be made these days.
Yeah. I mean, well, he kind of, because the whole thing is him having second thoughts about, hang on, maybe raping is not a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
He's conflicted.
I love that meanwhile, everyone else is having so much fun raping and pillaging around him.
And the women are like disappointed. Like the one that he's busted in on is disappointed that he's not raping her. It's very...
Not going to rape her.
The politics... The politics of that film are quite questionable.
Pushing boundaries sort of beyond the point where Monty Python sort of lived through an era where they could push boundaries because they needed to.
Yeah.
That movie came along when all the boundaries had been pushed. There was nothing left to push.
They're just like, yeah. Just put this
I
in
love
there.
it though.
Funny.
It's a good film. It's once again, it's a bit of a surrealist kind of film.
Yeah, I kind of think like it's definitely due for a rewatch for me because I haven't seen. Like I said, I haven't seen it in 30 years.
Why don't we lock in an episode where we just talk about the post Python-esque films?
So like Nuns on the Run and.
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking more like your Yellow Beard and your Time Bandits and like what's the other one? Jabberwocky, all that kind of stuff.
Jabberwocky. There's 2 films in there. I've seen like Yellow Beard. I've watched repeatedly, but I've never watched Jabberwocky. They never had it at any of the video stores I went to.
Yeah, it's great.
Time Bandits. I always had trouble getting into Time Bandits, which is odd considering how much I love like Sean Connery and stuff.
But if we give ourselves enough time, we can sort of catch up on these over a period and then and come together on an episode. And discuss
I'm
them.
down for it. I'm definitely open to revisiting these films.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good. I think everyone watching agrees. Yes, excellent. How many spitballs have we done?
I think you've done 2, and I've done 1.
3
or 3, and I've done 2.
All right, do another one. Well, you do one more, and then we'll wrap it up.
All right. Ooh, that hit. The movie Red Sun. With
Red Sun.
It's another Charles Bronson movie, but this time with Toshiro Mifune.
I have not
Do you remember
seen
this? This
Nope.
This is a phenomenal movie. Charles Bronson and his gang, and I think who's Alain Delon, French actor, is like his kind of second in command or his partner with this massive with his outlaw gang. They rob a train, and on the train happens to be the ambassador from Japan, and he's carrying.
I'll flash it on the screen.
You flash it on the screen. He's bringing a gift to the American president of this. I think it's like a samurai sword or something. And so Charles Bronson's gang robs the train and takes the sword, and then they basically double cross Charles Bronson and leave him for dead. And so then Toshiro Mifune is like the bodyguard or the guy who's entrusted with bringing this sword. So he has to go and find Alain Delon. And so he basically forms this uneasy alliance with Charles Bronson, where all Charles Bronson wants to do is kill Alain Delon and get his money. And all the other money they stole, and Toshiro Mifune needs to kind of keep him alive to get the sword. And it's like, and then they go on this chase across the West.
Yeah,
it's an amazing movie.
I've always known like the images from it, but I've never watched it, never really paid any attention to it. However, like Keith, if you're watching this, brother, this was directed by Terrence Young, who did the first three James Bond films.
Yeah, right.
Well, actually, Doctor No, From Russia with Love, and Thunderball. So not quite the first three, but
The three good
first
ones.
two. Yeah. That's cool,
Wow,
and
hang
it
on,
looks
Thunderball.
awesome. No, because that's number 4, isn't it?
Is it? Hang on, Thunderball. Which is the one?
Now
Which
we're
is the
going
one
into
where?
James-
No, because hang on, it's Doctor No,
Dr.
From Russia
No,
with
From
Love,
Russia with Love.
Goldfinger,
Golden. Yep.
then Diamonds Are Forever. The one with
That was-
Plenty O'Toole.
That was Connery's return, wasn't it?
No, that was no. I think Thunderball is his return. Thunderball is the one where they make it the same time as the other one, and they both have dominoes in them. But one domino is played by Jane Seymour, and Sean Connery's one is domino is played by Kim Basinger. And at the start of that film, he's at like a health spa, and he kills the guy. He pushes him into a sample rack of test tubes, and there's James Bond's urine is in the vial that stabs into the guy's back and kills him.
Oh, see, this shows how much the show has changed, because when Keith was on it, he would have had the answer for every single fucking syllable that we were just saying. Like, he would have been like this, mate.
Yeah.
It took us a little longer, but we kind of got there. Anyway, that movie looks good, and that was a very tangenty kind of spitball that we just did, but informative nevertheless.
Yeah, a bit of fun.
Until next week.